Hi, I'm Liz Angstman.
And I'm Joe Wolfe.
And we've put together these web stream lectures for you for Physics 1A.
To learn physics, you have to actually do physics, and that means solving problems. So on these video resources, there'll be little videos, but you don't want to sit back and relax while watching them, because every couple of minutes we'll ask you to answer questions. If you get stuck on those, it means you have to go back to the video, run it again, make sure you understand.
So we've used the research into student learning to put together these videos. So research shows that the best way to learn physics, in fact the best way to learn almost anything at university, is to practice answering lots of questions. It also shows that distributed practice works best. So this means rather than just setting aside one afternoon a week to try and work through the lecture material, it's better to distribute that time over the week. So maybe try and set aside 1 hour at a time, 3 times a week. Now, interestingly, there's a few techniques which are very common for students to use and have been shown to be very inefficient in terms of learning. So some of these common strategies include summarization, highlighting, or rereading textbook chapters. So don't waste your time using techniques such as those. Use the ones which work, answering questions. Research into physics teaching also shows that for demonstrations, you'll learn a lot more if you predict what's going to happen before watching and observing the demonstration. So often in these video lectures, you're going to be asked to make a prediction before you actually observe and explain what happens in a demonstration.
I'll be taking you for mechanics, where we study how things work and why.
And I'll be taking you for the second half of the course, in which we'll be looking at thermal physics and then waves and oscillations. Okay, so I'm the first year physics director as well as your lecturer for this course. So I'm just going to give you a bit of background about the administration of the course. The textbook for this course is Fundamentals of Physics by Halliday, Resnick and Walker. It's a great textbook. You can either buy it, you can buy a PDF version for cheaper than the hard copy, or you can access it from the library. They have an ebook and you can download a fairly large percentage of that from the library website for free. Now for this course, you're also going to have homework sets. So 1121 and 1131 have separate homework sets. The 1131 questions are slightly harder. So these homework sets are, what their name implies, homework, so they're for you to do at home. You'll have access to videoed and written solutions to all the problems in the homework sets on Moodle, but they're for you to do in your own time to make sure that you understand the lecture content and to get extra practice. Now, through this course, you're also going to have labs. Physics is an experimental science, so labs are a very important part of the course. So for the labs, you're going to need a lab manual. You can either buy it from the bookshop or you can download it and print it from Moodle. If you print it, please make sure that you print it full size, because your demonstrators need to mark it in the lab, and if you print it only half the page size, then they really have trouble reading what you've written. So if you print it full size. You'll have 10 lab exercises throughout the course. And when you attend labs, it's really important to remember to wear enclosed shoes. Now, for this course, you're also going to have problem-solving workshops in most weeks. These are workshops where you're going to practice answering questions. So there's little videos to help you prepare for these, and then when you go to the workshop, if you already know how to do everything, you can work as a peer tutor and help teach your peers. You'll learn a surprising amount that way. Or alternatively, if you don't know how to do something, you can get help of your peers and the instructors in the problem-solving workshops. We also have a teaching assistant, which is available if you need some concepts or some questions explained to you. So they'll be available on Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays. You'll be able to see all the details for that on Moodle. Now, please carefully check that you are enrolled in the correct course. If you need to go on and do Higher Physics 1B, then you should be enrolled in Higher Physics 1A. To enroll in Higher Physics 1B, you either need a credit in Physics 1A or a pass in Higher Physics 1A. And a pass in Higher Physics 1A is easier to achieve. So please enroll in Higher Physics 1A if you have to do Higher Physics 1B for your degree. Okay, I'm going to give you a quick tour of the Moodle site now to ensure that you don't miss out on anything. So when you log in for the first time, Moodle should look something like this. Up the top of the page, you've got a list of what's happening over the next 3 weeks so that you can plan for it and make sure that you stay on track. In O week, it'd be great if you could do this test about what you already know about mechanics, because we're very interested to see how much you know now, and then we'll be finding out how much you know after the topic to find out how effective our teaching methods have been. So below that, you've got your course information section. There's the administrative arrangements. Now under course pack, this is where you can download the lab manual and print it out if you want to. Make sure that if you print it out, you print out the whole lab manual for 1A and bind it to bring with you. You can also download the homework booklets there if you download the lab manual. Now your lecture notes you can find under web stream lectures here. I'm assuming that you've already found that since you're watching this video. This is set up in a book in Moodle. So up in the top left hand corner you can see the table of contents, and you can go from one topic to the next by changing it here in the top left hand corner, or you can use the forwards and back buttons down the bottom. So all your lessons are going to make heavy use of the quiz tool to make sure that you're answering questions as you go through. Now you've got the laboratory section here. Your first lab is in week 2. Before you come to your first lab, have a look at this Welcome to the Lab video, and you need to do the safety induction here. Without passing, getting 12.5 out of 13 on that safety induction, you won't be allowed into the lab. So make sure that you do that before your first lab. And for each of the lab exercises, you'll have some information before you go. So there'll be an introductory video and then a pre-lab quiz to do. Problem solving workshops, these start in week 1, and you're able to access the resources for each week here. So for example, for week 2, you've got a video, and then this is the worksheet that you'll be working on in class if you want to download it and look at it before the class. You'll have access to quizzes down here when they become available. They occur every fortnight. And then down here, you've got the solutions to the homework sets. So those will be made available throughout the semester as well. And you can see the times and locations for help with any problems that you have. Room 201A from 12 to 2 on Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays. And down here you've got discussion forums where you can ask any questions about the course. So administration forum, if there's something when you don't know when it's due or how it's marked or anything administrative of nature, ask that here and I'll get back to you. And then there's other forums for questions about actual physics, the interesting questions. Okay, I hope that's all clear. If anything's not, then just ask on those forums.